Books for teens are flying off the shelves, and it's not wizardry. Record numbers of young people are rushing to read books written just for them. While this electronically savvy generation may buy a book for an e-reader or an iPod, the majority of them are discovering the power of the printed page, and they're spurred to even more reading by today's most excellent young adult literature. It's a genre that's enjoying a golden age. Edgy, coming of age, pubescent literate, all words that describe a genre we're going to talk about, this time on Writers. I'm Gene Edwards, and tonight you'll meet three writers who are part of a movement that's taking the literary world by storm. Margaret McMullen, a native of Mississippi, she started out writing adult fiction and for magazines, but she's garnered great praise for her success in the young adult world. Sharon Draper, a high school English teacher for 30 years. She began her writing career after a student challenged her to enter a literary writing contest in Ebony magazine. Richard Peck, hailed by the Washington Post as the best living author for young adults. His novels are known for their memorable characters. He taught junior high before he left to begin writing. Richard and Margaret and Sharon, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you at this table for a conversation about a kind of literature that, frankly, a lot of us didn't know existed until now. Where did this literature come from? When I was a kid, it was Tom Swift and Nancy Drew, probably the same for you.
No, it was Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
A new book. Yeah.
Where did this literature come from? How did this happen?
Well, since I'm the oldest at the table by far and go back in the field of what is called young adult books, which are really coming of age novels, they were all born because a high school girl in Tulsa, Oklahoma back in the 60s wrote a book called The Outsiders, and it lit up the world, and it alerted even New York publishers to this overlooked readership of young people who are too old for children's books but too young for anything else and are looking to find their ways. And so the young adult novel was born.
I'm glad that it exists, that we have this field. And from the time that I started reading books, I searched for books about children my own age when I was a teenager, to now where there's just thousands and thousands of books for young people to choose from. I'm glad that we have that.
How did you find your way to it?
Well, I have to admit it was a little accidental. I wrote a story and I wasn't sure what it was. And it was called How I Found the Strong. And it was my agent who said, I'll market this or try to sell this as a YA. I said, a YA?
YA?
What is that? And she explained it to me. And then I said, what makes a young adult novel? And she said, oh, that's easy. It's short, there's no sex, and it's told from the point of view of a young person. And then she said, forget about everything I said, just keep writing stories. Because one of the things she said she liked about How I Found the Strong was that I didn't condescend, and I just told the story.
I think that's real important, the idea about condensation to young people, because they can tell the difference when you are writing to them and you're trying to moralize to them. They will reject you in a minute. But a good young adult novel appeals to them and speaks to them on their level. I am 15 and I understand this character in this book that is also 15, and we have common problems, and I like that. And I think the books that I have written have done that, and kids tell me, I like your books because they're like me, they're like my life.
Mm-hmm. So how do you do it? Do you channel your inner 15-year-old?
I don't, because I came to this from teaching. And the day I was reassigned junior high, I had found my people. And they kicked the living autobiography out of me. They'd heard those stories about being young long ago from their own parents, and they didn't believe any of that could have happened in a free country. Mm-hmm. So I knew to write about them, not about me.
Yes.
And also, from the front of the classroom, I learned how long they would listen to me and how much longer they'd listen to each other. So then they led me to writing in first person in the voice of a kid. See, we're all going to agree
See, you
about
all
everything.
write, well, you all write first person. I think that's
Sometimes.
a really valuable lesson to learn.
We need to keep our adult personas and our adult vocabularies and our adult messages off the page, but not too far off.
Enough so that it's subtle. I teach through the back door.
Yes.